Good morning. Happy Friday. It is time for just a word from the Word. Today's passage comes from a very familiar portion of Scripture, Psalm 23, and we're going to be looking at verse 5. And here's what it says in the King James. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. I was struck again this morning with God's sheer pleasure of showing off his blessings to his people. So much so that your enemy's invited to the banquet. We stop to think about that. The scripture says that the Lord prepares a table. It's a banquet table. It's a table of feasting. It's a table of blessing. And God said through David that he wasn't doing that just in the presence of your friends or your family or your loved ones. Surely they are there to celebrate with you, but also in the presence of your enemy. Your enemy is invited. Now, I'm not talking human enemies. And while it may feel at times like we have enemies in the flesh, we are told by Scripture to remember that the battle is not really with a human being. That's not really, another human being is really not your enemy. And I know you could argue with me. Some of you could argue big time with me, but hang tight. The real enemy is not in human form. It's the satanic force coming behind them, prodding them. I'm not saying that they're demon possessed. Don't hear that either. I'm just saying the real enemy that we fight is not flesh and blood. But Ephesians tells us that we war against principalities, against powers, against spirits, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. The real enemy, y'all, is not people. It's Satan and his demons. So when God blesses you, hear me this morning, when God blesses you, it is a blessing to you and it is a slap in our enemy's face to say, God is the one in control. Satan may want control because that's his deal. That's his MO, his modus operandi. Satan may want control. Satan may want to be in charge. But y'all, when God blesses his people, your enemy's invited to that feast as if God's saying, enemy, you have no hold on my people. This morning's just a word from the Word is a word of encouragement. God sees what the enemy is doing to you. God sees that. God recognizes the attack. God knows the battle that you are facing. But hear me. There's going to be a time where God takes care of that battle, and he's going to set a feast of blessing and refreshing and restoration before you. And the enemy is going to see it in a manner of him being defeated. There's blessing that's coming. I believe that with all of my heart. I believe that. So this morning's just a word from the Word. Hang tight. It's coming. Just keep living right. Keep walking right. Keep doing right. Keep loving Jesus right. Keep loving people right. There's going to be a feast. Your enemy's going to be invited. And it's going to be God showing off his great glory. This has been just a word from the Word. God bless you. Have a beautiful day. Have an amazing weekend. And Lord willing, we'll see you Monday morning.